Greetings and fellow riders. How come that some horses simply ignore signals while others overreact? If you want to get a solution to this, then please tune in because it is, after all, what we want when we are together with our horses is that they can on us and respond to our subtle signals with softness. But sometimes we find ourselves giving a signal that the horse completely ignores, or we find the horse doing something completely different than what we intended to signal. Because I have gotten a couple of questions after the three-part training, which was last week. And I also promised to go live and reply to some of those we didn't have time to talk about during the trainings. Yes, and if you joined the three-part live training, absolutely free of charge, Succeed with Liberty, then let me know in the comments below. Yes, because one quite common question was I tried to prevent my horse from grazing while wiggling the rope, something I'm teaching, and the horse doesn't respond. What do I do? And very often we don't want to become too loud with our signals either, so that the horse becomes like defensive and upset. And when I wiggle these lead ropes to get the horse to lift the head up from the grass, I don't use a metal clip, for instance, on the lead, because that can hurt the horse. So I just use a regular lead rope without a metal clip, and this is kind of annoying for the horse. And I keep on doing it until the horse lifts the head, and then I stop. So I think that's the key, because if we start wiggling and the horse doesn't lift the head, and we just stop wiggling before the horse has lifted the head, we are going to desensitize our horse to the signal. But I also can understand that we don't want to stand there wiggling all day either. So we can then have planned some kind of follow-up signals. And especially when a horse is kind of grazing, if we can surprise them somehow, they will look up from the grass. So you can maybe bring in a flag and wave the flag. And if that doesn't work, you can ask the horse for forwards in a way the horse understands that you have practiced without the grass being there. Yes. So plan follow-up cues, but we don't necessarily need to increase the pressure. We can just have different follow-up cues from the first cue. And asking for forwards is very often a great cue, because then we actually get a response. That's better than to just give up our ask when the horse is standing still, because then we are teaching the horse to stand still and ignore signals, and that's how horses become shut down. Yeah, they start ignoring stuff because it doesn't mean anything. So let me know in the comments below if you have tried the grazing exercise, and if you also maybe had a problem with the wiggling of the lead rope to get the horse to lift the head out of the grass. Because wiggling the lead isn't necessarily some kind of magic signal that makes horses lift their head out of the grass. It's actually us releasing on the wiggling that makes this a magic signal, because horses, they learn from the release and not the signal itself. Yes. But then we have, there were quite a few other questions where, like, I have now tried training my horse at liberty, and the horse keeps stopping and turning away and starts having this erratic behavior, and yeah, it's basically in a way overreacting. And if I haven't seen the video of you doing this, I cannot be certain, but to me it might sound like that you have accidentally stepped in front of the drive line. So you say, Susan, here, that you tried the doing liberty with your horse, and that your horse kept turning away, and it was kind of back and forth and back and forth. And was like someone else than you were training the horse. But I think that horses, they respond to us being in front or behind the drive line. And if we accidentally step in front of the drive line, we're going to stop the horse and the horse is going to turn away from us. And if we then step, behind the drive line on the other side, the horse is going to turn the other way. And we can kind of step a little bit like this. And it seems like the horse doesn't understand what we mean. But all horses and sheep and cows, for that matter, they have this drive line. So when we stay behind it, we have a drive. When we step in front of it, we are stopping them. Yes. But in the liberty work I teach, you are basically not stepping in front of the drive line at all. You are basically just stepping backwards when stopping your horse, because then you get more of a forwards into your stop than just stepping in front of the drive line and stopping the horse. Yeah, so that could be what's going on. Yes, because horses, they will kind of intuitively respond to our feet. And if we are in front of the drive line or behind. But for us humans, we need to practice this a little bit before we understand it. So when it comes to signals through the lead rope and with our hands and such, that's not something horses intuitively understand. So that's us kind of teaching the horse something. Yes. If that makes sense. Let me know in the comments below if this makes sense to you, because horses, they respond to our feet and our placement in front or behind the drive line. They will do that just because they are horses. But us wiggling the lead rope, they don't necessarily understand that means lift your head. We need to teach them that's what wiggling the lead rope means, for instance. Yeah, and it was also a couple of questions about feel, because I talked a lot about feel in the free training. Definitely in part 2, we were talking lots about feel and how sensitive horses are, and they can feel a fly, land on their butt, and we should operate with feel in the reins. And we can't pull on a horse to teach them feel. So Berit had a question here that she had tried then using feel with her horse, and her horse completely ignored it. Like, what am I supposed to do? Yeah, you are not supposed to use more pressure, but I also don't necessarily recommend just standing there and waiting either, because although all horses can respond to feel, many horses, they have learned to ignore it, for instance, through the way they are tied in cross ties and such. Because feel is the horse responding to the slack going out of something. And if the horse has, become desensitized by being ridden on a tight rein or tied in cross ties and such, that horse is not going to respond to the slack going out of the rein anymore. But if we start pulling on them, the release is going to get wrong, because if the horse then responds, we risk keeping on pulling. And if we just wait and wait and wait, we risk the horse just falling asleep, because they, are already desensitized to feel. But inside the Ride Like a Viking members, we have 2 solutions for this, actually, which are very easy and solves it immediately. And I can give you one of them, because when horses bend their neck like this, their hind end is going to go away like this. But we can also turn their hind end over, and that's also going to bend their neck. So that can be a follow-up signal that doesn't involve pulling on the horse. So you can pick up on the rein. Basically, you do this from the ground first. You pick up on the rein, and if nothing happens and you have taught your horse to move the hind end over of your body language or of your leg aid as a hand aid, something you also learn in Ride Like a Viking members, that is your follow-up signal. So you basically ask your horse to do something the horse can't do without softening the neck, which is to move the hind end over. When the horse moves the hind end over, it softens the neck, it's going to be a release in the rein. So that's one thing you can do. And another thing is to use your body language. Yes, as a follow-up signal. But you basically need to join Ride Like a Viking members to get hold of those videos, because it gets a little bit too complicated to try explain it here with a plastic horse and with just words. But there are videos about this inside Ride Like a Viking members, what to do when your horse gets stuck to the response of feel. Yes, because we can't teach horses to respond to feel by pulling on them and increasing the pressure. Then the whole point is gone, right? Yes, so nice to see you here. Thank you so much for joining. And if you have any questions, then please put them in the comments and I will try to answer them. Because Ride Like a Viking members is now open for new members, and we are only open 3 times per year, and we are also only open for new members until Thursday midnight US Pacific time. Yes, and I have gotten a couple of questions about the Ride Like a Viking members as well, and I thought I'd go through them. And I think one of the most common questions are like, do I need to own a horse to join the program? And no, you don't necessarily need to own a horse to join the program. But if you are taking riding lessons and multiple people are riding your horse and you only have one riding lesson per week or something, then this program is probably not for you, because you will basically not be able to build this up fast enough. In a way, it will take very, very long time before you get results, because when then you start following the program and then the horse has another rider and is doing something completely different and ridden with pressure and not feel and stuff like that, you know, that horse is going to be desensitized between every time you train it, so you're not going to make much progress. But if you, for instance, have a horse on lease that you ride 2 to 3 times per week, then that can work very well. So then you can build this up and create this special communication with the horse, because you will have continuity. Yeah. So if you're leasing a horse, no problem. If you take riding lessons once per week, then probably not. Then maybe you should lease a horse or buy a horse and join instead. Or you can start your own riding school. That's actually another option, because we have members who are running riding schools. And they have, since joining Ride Like a Viking members, changed the way they now run their riding facilities, which is amazing. For instance, Christy Pemberton, she has a wonderful riding school in Washington State, Mini Acres Trot About, where she takes in rescues. And before she joined the program, she was doing more like a traditional riding school. But after she learned these techniques, she has now completely changed how she teaches and what she teaches, so that her students are now, instead of coming and taking riding lessons, they are helping her out retraining rescues. And the students are actually happier, and the horses too. So she has much more motivated horses in her riding school, and she also has much more motivated students. But I think many people who are running a riding school, we kind of expect that people want to come and ride, right? But once people start learning about horses and this way of communicating with them, it doesn't even only change the way they train horses, it tends to also change their life in a way. Okay, enough about that. Let's see. Another question is, what equipment is necessary? And to join the Ride Like a Viking members, you actually only need a rope halter and a 12-feet lead. I don't even need a rope halter. You can just use a regular halter as well, as long as it doesn't have this wiggly ring in the end, and you can have a long lead rope. But other than that, we don't have any special requirements when it comes to the equipment. And a flag, if you need a flag, you can easily make a flag yourself, and which is also shown inside Ride Like a Viking members. Yes. And we have a question here from Birgit. Let's see, can I do the program bitless? Yes, you can definitely do the program bitless. You don't need a bit to do the Ride Like a Viking program. Not at all. And some also had some concerns about the Wi-Fi. Do I need good Wi-Fi to join? No, you do not need good Wi-Fi to join, because we have an app which makes the whole course platform accessible on mobile and tablet. So you can bring it with you out into the stables and have access to the whole video library with a search function, so that you can find videos that are suited for your horse and for you. But the principles of the program are basically the same. So it's based on connection and choices and feel. And this way of training horses makes them very easy to ride at liberty. Versus if we attempt doing liberty with horses without giving choices and without having the connection and without operating through feel, we need to do a lot of obedience training with that horse and have signals that have work very, very well to be able to do it. And liberty becomes kind of this hard, complicated thing. But when the horse wants to do the same as we want to do, and we know how to make our ID the horse's ID, liberty becomes very easy and not something that takes months to prepare for. This transformation happens very fast. And someone is also asking, how fast do I get results? Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, what's fast? Yeah, fast will definitely be a little bit related to the horse, I think. But I would say that in my experience, we actually get results after 20 minutes, because the horse is going to notice that we have started to communicate with them in a different way. But it doesn't necessarily mean that your horse is completely transformed after 20 minutes. But you will then have a starting point after 20 minutes. And I would say after 2 or 3 sessions, your horse is going to respond to your pointing and your body language and follow you at liberty. But of course, if your horse is shut down and has been shut down for a while, that can definitely take some time to build motivation again in these horses. And we have a particular video series about that, how to retrain horses who lack forward, which is often actually more time consuming than to retrain horses who are outgoing and reactive. The outgoing and reactive ones, if you are afraid that your horse is not suitable for the program because your horse is rearing and bucking and bolting and spooking, then that's definitely not the case, because those are the horses who get the quickest results. But it might take a little longer to retrain a shutdown horse, because you need to build motivation first. You can't really start training them unless you have some forwards. And with these horses who have learned to shut out signals and have lost kind of forward, we need to be a bit careful so we don't do too much too soon. But the connection exercise works perfectly for these horses too. And you will get many ideas on stuff you can do with your horse if you have a horse who lacks forward or who is shutting down. Okay, but thank you so much for joining. Unless you have any questions, then I hope to see you on the inside of Ride Like a Viking members, because we are only open until Thursday. And if you want to join, there's a link below, and I can also post a link in the comments so that you can now try out Ride Like a Viking members risk-free, because we also have a 14-day money-back guarantee. Yeah, and one of the questions were also how do I unsubscribe? Yes, because this is either a monthly or a yearly plan. So you can unsubscribe yourself inside the portal. You don't need to send me an email or, you know, reach out or something. You can yourself unsubscribe at any time. Yes, so that's something that at least I find very valuable if I have a subscription that I'm able to do that. But we are open and you are warm welcome to join and try these proven and tested methods that I'm not sure you are going to learn anywhere else, to be honest. And we have a large video library, but the program is not made so that you are supposed to watch each and every video, but you are going to easily find the video series that suits you and your horse. Plus, we have weekly interactive live meetings where you can ask questions and get feedback and support, which is very, very valuable and something we do every week. Okay, maybe I'll see you on the inside of Ride Like Viking members. And thank you so much for joining this evening. And also, thank you so much for joining the 3-part free training. It was so awesome to share this knowledge with you. And I am honored that you are taking these steps towards building a better communication, understanding, and connection with your horse and horses in general. And what I see is that when you start doing this and others see what you are doing and the results you are getting, they want to do the same as well. So this method is spreading more and more. And by just being here on the live trainings and on this live, then you are, I think you are a bit ahead of the times because the times are turning and people are looking for alternative to control and pressure when training horses. And isn't necessarily treats. We can actually become the treat ourselves when training our horse. Okay, and when we experience that, that is magical. And I sincerely hope that for you. So thank you so much for joining and see you on the inside of Ride Like a Viking members. Bye for now.